And I love both of them. Both Urban and Perlman are great.
You heard it. Marco loves men.
Perfect.
Hello and welcome to the Triggercast. I am your Triggerman, Forgetful Hitman, and with me is Triggerman Marco. How are you doing, Marco?
I am great.
You're so enthused.
That's all the energy I had. I'm done.
All right, fuck it. Shut down the podcast. We're done. Canceled.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Remember to follow us. No, I'm just kidding.
I guess we were paid by Fox. Canceled after the first season. We only get our 12 episode order. We just get 11. And one of which is a clip show.
That's sad. Got the Fox treatment out of that one.
Hey, it's actually perfect because this week the whole cancel renew thing's happening for the next television season in America.
There is a lot of television stuff to talk about, actually.
Oh, yeah. It's like the E3 of television right now, but in a bad way.
That's true. We should put a bookmark in this.
How so?
The May time. May time is a TV happening time.
Oh, yeah. We can do that in the next one with us. We can talk about shows we like that are canceled and renewed and how we feel. Hey, we're talking about the next podcast and this podcast. Time travel.
Oh, man, that's meta. In the next one, we should talk about this one. Oh, no, no, because that makes sense.
We should talk about something we don't mention in this one in the next one.
And
just confuse everybody. Like, hey, you remember when Arnold Schwarzenegger came on the podcast on number 11?
It was excellent. Go check it out. Or we should be... Oh, here we go. This comment's the one. Man, recording episode 11 was good, but not as good as recording episode 12 that one time. Remember?
I do, because Dan was there and you weren't. It was the best time.
Well, I was holding the camera. the camera to the podcast.
That was great. So do you want to open with the PlayStation Store update for the week?
Well, first I was going to ask you what you've been playing.
A lot of Prey.
Yeah?
I've been praying the Prey.
Yeah, that game's been getting a lot of praise. Short paragraph on Prey.
Wait, what?
Like, pros and cons to Prey. Without giving out any spoilers quite yet.
Pros, the first, see, I'm not sure how to say this because I want to say like the first hour, but it's like playing Metroid game where it's like you progress at your own pace, so I'm going to take more of, like the first 30 minutes to an hour narratively are like, oh, so freaking good. Like, I don't want to get into it because it's like spoilerific as hell, but I haven't played a game in recent memory that has hooked me so well just in the first 30 minutes. Like what a book really needs to do to keep you going.
Okay.
This game did that narratively to me. A con? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm the same way with books, so it's interesting to make that comparison. But go ahead.
A knock on it would be the fact that it's surprisingly running well on consoles, but CryEngine 3. It's usually a bastard on consoles, but for Prey, it's running quite well. However, I will still knock it because it's a 6-year-old engine, and it's definitely showing its age. Just like when Unreal Engine 3 was used for Batman Arkham Knight.
I see, yeah.
I mean, or even a better example, Splinter Cell Blacklist was using Unreal Engine 2.5 in 2013. And that engine was used in Chaos Theory in 2005.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. So there's like some old-timey technical issues. So like there's like some model clipping through walls, or like AI not really knowing what to do.
The model clipping, that just seems to be an Arcane staple, because that was in Dishonored and Dishonored 2 with a different engine. So I'm wondering if they intentionally put those in there for speedrunners for laugh and giggles and stuff like that.
An excellent point to bring up.
Laugh and giggles.
If I may.
Sure.
Speedrummer.
Rummer.
It's when you drink rum really, really fast.
That sounds fun.
It's a pro sport, actually. Speedrunner, Dracu, I'm not really sure how to say his name. Dracu or Dracu. Dracu,
Link in the description.
indeed, has beaten Prey in a speedrun in less than 20 minutes. Most of the speedrun includes clipping through walls and pretty much breaking the entire game. So he uses this like a glue gun, which looks to me like a fast drying cement gun.
Pretty much.
All right. So he uses that to clip out of the maps and basically travel around it. So he's jumping from like little cement block to cement block. The video is available. It is in the comments, or sorry, in the description, as you said.
Yes.
And in order to avoid spoilers, I've been told to punch out around the 8-minute mark.
Okay.
But even then, before the 8-minute mark, you can see where he's going with it. And it's like, it's impressive that he can just break the entire thing, be out of bounds the entire times that he needs to travel, and very, very easily go into the map and come back out.
Did you watch the speedrunner? I don't remember who did it. If I find the video, I'll put it in the description. If not, sorry. Did you see the speedrunner that did the similar thing for Dishonored in the prison sequence where he or she, I believe it was a he though. It was a couple of time jumps and was able to get to the roof of the prison that wasn't fully rendered. It was just like a static image, and he was able to run straight to the end of that level in 6 minutes.
So I didn't actually see it, but I saw some screenshots, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Not screenshots, like GIFs.
Okay.
And I thought it was interesting how these are time old things that were used in like Metroid and shit like that on the GameCube that people are still using in order to speedrun and just break games.
It's awesome.
It's awesome. I personally love speedrunners. It gives you an awesome perspective on, like, the guy that did, I think it was Skyrim in 48 minutes. That was fucking impressive.
True, considering that is a big open game.
Yeah, like, you gotta hit different key points, but there's so many branches that you, as a regular player, I almost said prayer. As a regular player, just going through the game and like consuming the content as it's supposed to be, you'd never even think of the stuff that they're doing.
True, you're right. And that's what makes games done quick so enjoyable to watch and support.
Yeah,
for those speedrunners to keep doing their thing.
That's an awesome little charity, by the way. We should definitely put them into the description as well.
Definitely. Don't mind me opening a Reese's peanut butter cup.
You like that stuff, man?
Who does not like Reese's? Hang on. Who does not like chocolate and peanut butter combined? It's because you're Mexican.
All right, that's fair. Anyway, let's get right into the drop, shall we?
Well, hang on. I had one thing on this.
Oh, go ahead.
Crap. I had it and it just slipped out. There's a complaint though with Prey about how it has a are you aware of this? A game-breaking bug?
No.
Now it's confirmed for PC in like rare instances, like it's not full blown like every copy.
Okay.
And whatnot, and and my brother beat it on PC and he didn't have this problem because it corrupts all of your save files and you have to start over. In terms of, I believe it's not your manual saves, but it's checkpoint saves and whatnot.
Okay.
And there was a bit of controversy surrounding that. And IGN just gave the game a 4.0 for the PC copy because of that bug. And I'm like, what about Dishonored 2 last year when that game was highly unplayable on PC? Oh, that's right. You gave it a 9.2 or 3. I just had it. Stupid phone. They gave it a 9.3 and whatnot. I'm like, so you're going to give the PC copy of Prey for one little thing a 4.0. Now, granted, it's a big thing if it hits you. But a game that needed several patches in order to be even playable gets a 9.3.
Yeah, that's an interesting point to bring up because it's, I feel like maybe this is me being too logical about it, but I feel like if IGN took the amount of complaints times like the probable frequency of whatever bug it may be, and the fact that it's game breaking, if there's enough people affected in the population that have the game, then maybe giving it a 4.0 or whatever it might be a good way to get the developers to change it or patch it faster in order to get the rating up.
True, and the funny thing is Bethesda had came out the day before, because their review came out yesterday or today. Bethesda was basically a day ahead of them in terms of the review dropping and Bethesda announcing. And the patch is already out on PC, by the way. It came out today. Bethesda already announced that they had heard some minor complaints. Not minor, don't get me wrong. This isn't a minor thing in terms of... It's pretty sucky for people experiencing it. But they had already been working on the fix. They found it and they've patched it, and it's patched now. It's just... the comment section in that IGN article was going crazy. Like, I kept going in and out just to check it. And now that it's patched, a lot of people are wondering if the score is going to go up and reflect how the game truly is. Like, I feel it's a gem. Like, we haven't had a good game like this since, like, The Witcher 3.
Ooh, okay.
That's how much I'm loving this game so far.
It's interesting because it is, from what I understand, it's a very narrative-driven game. And it doesn't, like, overly emphasize gameplay the same way, like, Metal Gear Solid 5 did in order to save its shitty storyline.
That game got a 10, by the way, by IGN, and the game's not even complete.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm a bit confused with IGN and their review policy.
Yeah, and it's going to vary a lot. What you need to do... So, okay, for people listening, the way you do reviews and the way you get decent reviews is you go look up a game that you love. Look up a game that... your favorite game, and look up a review for it. And whoever agrees with you or brings up the points that you found most interesting in the game, look up that specific person's reviews. Because reviews are going to vary from person to person. So, if you didn't know how to look up reviews, that's how you do it.
I basically, personally, don't go based on, I call them the paid reviewers, you know?
Yeah.
The Metacritic and whatnot, those kind of people. I know Metacritic has nothing to do with this, but I'm like, the people that are listed on Metacritic's, thing.
Yeah.
I don't go by them anymore because of the whole controversy surrounding Metal Gear Solid 5 being Game of the Year on PC Gamer in 2015 when it was a incomplete game. Dishonored 2 was so highly praised by the critics, but the game player base was like, the fuck, we got a broken game. And Prey being a bit split, with the critics, but on Steam it has an 88% user rating out of 64 user reviews. I'm more inclined to go with the player base to get my feel for a game these days. Because if you recall, I mean, granted, the Steam will show up who got the copy for free or whatnot.
Yeah.
But we post our reviews. Now, granted, there's trolls, and you got to sift through a couple of reviews to get the general consensus. You can't just read one or two. But the people that spent $60 on this game will easily tell you if it's garbage or not.
Yeah, it's true.
And a lot of the reviews on Steam I'm looking at right now, they're saying best game of 2017, GOTY candidate. If you like BioShock, then you'll pray like this. That's a good one. And so I'd also felt that the 4.0 felt more like an emotional response than a critical response.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, like someone lost all their game saves and lashed out in the review.
Yeah.
Temper tantrum.
That's how it came off to me. And I felt it was kind of unprofessional because if that's your only knocking point, I mean, how that doesn't really warrant 6 points taking off.
No, not really. I'm inclined to agree, especially if a patch is already out, right?
Yeah, the patch came out not even a week into it. I mean, this is also something that doesn't just happen in Prey. It doesn't just happen in a PC copy. It happens in hard drive fails and whatnot. There's so many mechanics that go into computers or consoles these days. It could be a number of things. Bethesda did come out and openly admit that it was the game itself in this instance. So I feel openly attacking the PC port is also kind of harsh,
Yeah, no, that's agreeable.
but that's what I had on this.
I see.
I didn't know, by the way, speaking of your drop, I didn't know Loco Roco was getting remastered. I'm kind of excited.
So this week on the PlayStation, Loco Roco gets remastered. So the old-timey, what is it, side-scroller?
Yeah, it was like a side scroller you controlled with the L and R buttons, right? To make the game move around?
Yeah, I'm inclined to even call it like a marble game. Like, I know
Marble,
they're not
right?
technically marbles, but...
Every time you say marble, I hear Marvel.
Yeah, I know, I'm Mexican, so V's and B's are the same thing. But yeah, if you miss Loco Roco, if there's a hole in your heart from where Loco Roco was on your PSP back in the day, go to
Mine.
PlayStation. What?
Mine.
Really?
Oh, I loved Loco Roco.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't stand it. Like, I found it fun.
Have you ever played Pikmin?
Yeah, I love
Did
Pikmin.
you? Okay. So I'm a little conflicted on you right now, but I love puzzly games like that.
Okay.
And Loco Roco... Sorry, go ahead.
But the thing I liked about Pikmin is, like, kind of what I got from the Overlord games on PS3.
See, I don't like those.
Okay, so there's different things that we got from the Pikmin games then, I think. It sounds like.
Yes. But the reason why I liked Loco Roco, to just quickly wrap it up, it was bright and colorful and a lot of fun, you know? Back when things were starting to take the Call of Duty turn, like nitty, realistic, Christopher Nolan, Batman era, you know?
Right. Yeah,
so it was
that's fair.
It was just like this little bright, beautiful little gem.
All right, I can see where you're coming from. But I was all about the darkness that Christopher Nolan brought up on the world.
Reaper Wolf, that says a lot.
Indeed. I've been the Reaper for way too long. Anyway, new games coming out on digital PlayStation 4 is Strafe. Now, if you haven't heard about Strafe, I might be sad.
I actually haven't.
Oh my god. So Strafe is a procedurally generated, pretty much love letter to Doom. I think the tagline for this game is it's a cutting edge game straight from 1996.
Okay, that Doom, okay.
So it's very pixel art, it's very hyper violent, and it's how can I say it? It's basically if you wanted to get the same feeling you got from Doom back in the day in a modern game. There's a lot of great little mechanics in this game. Like, for instance, it doesn't give you a map, but it shows you where you've been by the amount of blood that's on the walls and floor.
Huh. I'm looking at the Steam page right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually not doing so hot in reviews.
Really? That's interesting.
It's got a mixed rating. It's got 62% positive out of 436 or 438 reviews.
Interesting. Alright. Well, check out Strafe if you like Doom. Moving right along. Resident Evil Code Veronica X from the PlayStation 2 has been ported onto PS4 Digital.
Wasn't that on PlayStation 3 as well?
I don't remember it being on PlayStation 3.
Because I know 4 was put on PS3 and then something else was put on PS3 right with it. And I don't remember which one of those fucking Resident Evils.
I could be just forgetting it. I don't remember, though. NBA Playgrounds is out.
Isn't that the one we bashed last time?
Yeah, I was about to say. So it's an arcade NBA game with it kind of harkens back to the old arcade titles for basketball and stuff. So like they feature the big heads and everything. It's a 2-on-2 basketball game.
What's the price tag?
Price tag is... Oh, crap, I just lost it. Hold on.
Did you know the price tag for Strafe is $19.96?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I thought so, too. It's, I don't know. Like I said, it's almost like a love letter to the old Doom days. It's not really. It's not there to make money. It's there to be like, dear Doom.
And I can understand probably why it's getting more mixed reviews. It's like I need to play it to really kind of help my train of thought, but I'm wondering if, because in the past 2 decades, FPSs have changed dramatically, and if it's harkening back to 96, there could be elements in it that people just don't like or just aren't familiar with, like the Call of Duty kids, that never grew up on the 90s Doom and whatnot.
That's fair. They might be going into this expecting a Call of Duty title, and all of a sudden they're thrown into a world of Doom, and they have no idea.
True.
That's an interesting angle, actually.
Yeah, because the angle I'm going with is back in the day, you couldn't move the mouse up and down to look up and down. It was just left and right.
Yeah, okay. That'd be interesting to see, actually. I kind of want to read some of these reviews, but I guess I'll go do my research and I'll come back.
Yeah.
All for our listeners.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Also, okay, to tie it off, NBA Playgrounds is at $26.99 right now on the PlayStation Store.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not my cup of tea. I don't think it's either one of our cup of teas, so it's difficult to judge that one. Speaking of Doom and Doom love letters,
ooh,
and just Doom in general, Butcher, a 2D side scroller, is available on PS4 digital right now, and it's basically what Doom is, but side scrolling.
Ooh.
There's a ton of blood, a ton of shooting. It's great. Oh, well, it looks great. I haven't tried it.
I love me some side scrollers.
Out now, Blade and Bones, a combat-driven Metroidvania experience.
Ooh,
out for PlayStation 4 digital.
Blood and Bones, eh?
Blade. Wait, what?
Blade and... Okay.
Blade and Bones. I also wanted to touch on a few other things that...
Go ahead.
So, in the podcast that never aired, we spoke about Darksiders 3.
Oh, yeah.
Coming out. Darksiders Furies Collection is out on PlayStation. It includes Darksiders 1 and 2 remastered for PlayStation 4, but not the third one. So people looking into that, don't buy it based on the fact that you think you're getting the third game.
So that's what I don't like about that collection, and I've known about this for a little bit now, is it's almost false marketing at this point. You know, the Fury collection?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Like, she's even on the cover art.
Yeah.
And it doesn't click.
It's just a way to build on the hype to sell more copies.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot of people are going to be, they're going to be burned because they're expecting the third game, and all of a sudden, well, now I might as well play through the first one. I beat the first one, might as well play through the second one, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember when Darksiders 1 and 2 got remastered, Darksiders 1 was the, what? Darksiders War Master Edition or War Mastered or something?
Yeah, War Mastered.
And then Darksiders 2 is the Definitive Edition, which is annoying to say.
Yeah, it's really difficult if you're foreign, man.
It's not even like difficult, it's just Definitive. It's a nice little tongue-in-cheek to definitive, but it just makes it so annoying and stupid to say that it's just like, I don't want to.
Agreed.
And anyways, Darksiders 1 and 2 aren't that great anyways.
Oh, dang.
I'm not big on hack and slash, by the way, especially hack and slashes that suck.
No, see, I like the story to Darksiders 1, and it inspired a lot of my sketches back in the day.
Well, you would. You have Reaper in the name.
That's true, yeah, that makes sense. But I think if you want to get the story effect for Darksiders 1, I never played Darksiders 2, I wasn't interested in it.
Oh, so you're the reason why THQ went out of business. You didn't support Darksiders 2.
Yeah, I guess. Like, the coolest thing that we got out of that game was a trailer. And that says a lot. But yeah, it is. They're both definitely hack and slashes. The first one has a half decent storyline featuring Mark Hamill, actually.
I actually found his Joker-y voice a little annoying and misplaced.
Hmm.
It was like, oh, yay, okay. Fucked up Batman and Joker go on a massacre. Okay.
I kind of liked it. It made the character a little more funny for me.
Sure, I can see that route. It was comical in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that was the intent, though, was it?
I don't think so. Like, that character was a comic relief, but it wasn't supposed to be funny because Mark Hamill's his voice.
I think Troy Baker would have been a better choice because Troy Baker can mimic Mark Hamill to a T, and I think it probably would have had that seriousness it needed.
Yeah, I feel like Troy Baker could switch back and forth pretty well. A little better than Mark Hamill could. No offense. He's still a master in
his Joker voice
acting.
can be... Yeah. His Joker voice can still be terrifying and creepy, like Under the Red Hood. Not Under the Hood, I'm sorry. Fuck, I just lost it. Under the Red Hood is not Mark Hamill's Troy Baker. No, it was John DiMaggio, I'm sorry. I'm trying to think of... what's that one that came out last year that was so...
The Last Laugh or something like that?
Yeah. That one, that movie.
The Killing Joke.
The Killing Joke, there you go. Mark Hamill playing Joker in that one was great.
Yeah, I heard it was super dark and, like, awesome. Just like an emotional story.
See, it was great. It would have been a flawless movie had they just not done the prequel story they added to it to inflate the runtime because it's a short story. So they needed to inflate the runtime so it wasn't, 30, 40 minutes. They added a very annoying Batgirl segment. And I love Batgirl. I love the character of Batgirl. I love Barbara Gordon. I don't like what they did with the story, and the internet really didn't either.
That's fair. Well, see, nothing good ever happens when you do stuff for anything other than, like, creative freedom or fan service, I guess.
Well, see, what would have made it work is if they would have, had it tie in better instead of it being a random Batgirl story where, like, say, if it was, like, a prelude to the comic, like, how they get Joker in jail and whatnot, and, because how the Killing Joke is a Joker getting out and taking Commissioner Gordon through a night of hell, Why not build on that, lead into that, like, when, like, say Joker gets caught with Batman and Gordon, Joker sees something and he's like, okay, I'm going to make you see Batman for what he really is,
Yeah.
Why not build on that instead of a Barbara Gordon story where it's kind of sexist and it makes women look weak?
Yeah, and that's never good. Especially when you're doing it just to inflate your runtime. It's like, why even go there in the first place?
Oh, and the Batman-Batgirl sex scene is highly cringy.
Cringy, did you say?
Cringy, like, fucking, you close your eyes, cringy.
Oh.
And shiver and like, oh god, this is happening.
It's like, why are they doing this? I didn't even know there was a sex scene in that one, but all right.
Wait until you watch it and see how you feel.
I might actually watch this one. I'm not a big Batman fan, but I might give this one a go just for that. Okay, wait. To clarify for the people listening, I'm not watching it for the sex scene. I'm watching it because it was very critically acclaimed, all right?
The movie's not critically acclaimed. The graphic novel is. I was going to give you an out, though, if you didn't open your mouth. I was going to say, yes, watch it for that story you're craving, because the actual movie itself, based on the comic, does it so flawlessly. But if you want to watch it for the sex scene, go ahead, man. That's all for you.
That's not what I said. Well, okay, people are into that sort of stuff. I shouldn't knock it. Never mind.
There's this thing called hentai.
Yeah, for the longest time, I just thought that was a Digimon character with a hen on its head.
Hentai-mon? That's
Moving
how
on.
It's a Digimon character.
So the last couple of things that I wanted to round this off with is the free games for this month. If you're a PlayStation Plus member, you will have access to Abzu, pretty much an interactive wallpaper for your PlayStation 4. Type Rider, that's with a D, Rider for your PlayStation Vita. You can go blow the dust off that thing. Laser Disco Defenders, which I thought was related to Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. It's not. It's a twin stick shooter. It's a bullet hell. Also for PlayStation 4, I think. No, for PS Vita. Sorry. Port Royale, which is a piratey multiplayer, mass online multiplayer, which I don't know, look pretty crappy to be honest, but that's just me. Blood Knights, Tales from the Borderlands, all 5 seasons will be free to PlayStation Plus subscribers this month.
5 episodes. It's not seasons.
Yeah, that's what I said. I immediately jumped on that one, so I'll have Tales from the Borderlands on my PlayStation soon. And I will not tune in. Wow. I'll let you know what I think about it next week.
You'll chime in?
Chime in, that's the word I was looking for, thanks. Last but not least, Street Fighter V, the beta test, is exclusive to PlayStation Plus subscribers and only available until the 14th. Now, I don't know if that means that you can only download it until the 14th and you can continue playing the beta until they close it, or if they're closing the beta on the 14th. So if you want to get on that, now's the time. I have no idea when this is going to actually post, so it might be over by the time we get there.
The 14th is in a couple days. Yeah, maybe. Didn't Street Fighter V come out 2 years ago?
Is it Street Fighter V? I might have fucked that one up. It might be Street Fighter 6.
Okay, because I was going to say, Street Fighter V came out in 2015.
I'm going to have to double check that now. Hold on.
But I played Super Rude Bear in between the 10th podcast and this one.
Oh, yeah? How's that?
It's like Super Meat Boy, and I don't care for it much because it's not my cup of tea type of thing.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I did see the video that you posted, actually, now that I think about it.
It's not terrible, but it's just, it's not my cup of... It's just not what I'm going for when I game. Of course, I'm going for Loco Roco, for those that know.
See, that's really surprising to me. I had no idea.
Loco Roco?
Yeah, for me, that was just like one of those marble games that I played for like a couple of seconds, and that was about it.
No, I actually really enjoyed it. I only played the first one. I didn't play the second one, because by the time the second one came out, PSP what?
Yeah. Sad.
Sony had great ideas with the PSP and PS Vita. It's just they released it and then it stopped doing well, and then they just abandoned it, and then the PS Vita came out, and then they won't be releasing another handheld, which in this day and age, not a good idea anyways.
Yeah, I'm still kind of hoping for another one though.
I would rather have like a tablet come out from Sony that you can hook up a controller to, you know?
Okay, I see what you mean.
Because you can do more with a tablet than you can with a handheld in terms of gaming. Bigger screen for one, and you can also have it Sony, you can have it communicate with your consoles and stuff like that.
Now, are we talking like commercially available tablets, like the ones we have now, or are you saying like
I just
spitballed
like
a console sort of thing?
I didn't really put any stock into it. I just said Sony tablet.
Okay. That is interesting. And oh, here it is. Okay. No, it's definitely Street Fighter V.
That is weird. Is there like going to be Ultra Street Fighter V or something?
I assume. I don't know. It says Street Fighter V, so 5, Roman numeral, CFN beta test game client. It says test out new Capcom Fighters Network available. Oh, I see. This is online.
Yep. They're testing out new server functionality.
Okay. And it has like the regular beta disclaimer thing. All data recorded during the beta is for testing purposes only. And once the beta has concluded, all replays, fight money earned, progress, and player data will be deleted.
That's why I don't care for open betas. I mean, they're fun and all, but it's like, why? Because then Wildlands has a bad taste in my mouth.
That's fair, but if we didn't play that beta, we wouldn't have known to not get that game.
I still wasn't getting it.
Oh, well,
I'm sorry, we don't game enough, so $60 investment wasn't just not feasible at the time. Now,
That's fair.
If it was 6 years ago, us gaming, yeah, we'd be in a pickle right now.
Yeah. But then again, 6 years ago, I was gaming like every day.
That's what I'm getting at.
But funny story, my brother ended up getting me that game.
Yes.
So now I have it. It's in my library. I've played it quite a bit, actually.
And guess what's on sale again?
No way. Are you serious?
It's $44.99 right now.
God damn it.
Your brother should be pissed right now.
I know. He was it's actually kind of funny because I had specifically told him, I'm like, man, don't get this game at full price. It's fun and everything, but I wouldn't pay $60 for it. He's like, no, man, I'm getting paid soon. I'm going to get you that game. I'm like, no, seriously, don't pay full price. And he didn't for a while. And I'm like, all right, disaster averted. We're done. I didn't bring it back up. I didn't feel a need to, like, convince him to not get it. And all of a sudden he shows up at work. He's like, hey, guess what I got you? I'm like, I don't know. What? He hands me the game and the cellophane and everything. I'm like, did you pay full price for this? Because God damn it.
And you texted me that, what, 3 days ago? And it went on... No, sorry, you texted me that on Friday, right?
No, I think it was like Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, okay, because it went on sale again on Tuesday.
That's funny.
I was tempted to pick it up just to like, hey, Marco, I got it for $44.99. I hope your brother didn't pay $60.
No, I'm fairly sure he did. Because he says, oh man, you don't want to know how much it was for both of them. I'm like, no, I don't. I really don't, because I told you not to get this, but thank you anyway. But all that crap aside, we've actually been playing it quite a bit, and it really is really fun.
That's good. It looked like a next gen Peace Walker when we were playing it.
Yeah.
So, but I was waiting for patches and whatnot because a game like that was gonna need some work under the hood after coming out.
Yeah, totally. When I was playing it, it definitely feels like they patched out the driving both for the helicopters, or I guess air vehicles and cars, because it feels way better than it did in the beta.
That's good.
Also, the graphics look slightly upgraded.
Okay.
Not fantastic, but still better than the beta.
Something like that, though. I'm more for graphics turned down for smoothness of gameplay because you are playing online always type of thing.
Yeah.
So that's where I make the the conceit, the concession, whatever word you wish to choose. I would take smoothness. I take smoothness any day, but I'll take it even more so on a multiplayer type thing.
Yeah, that's fair. So far, no bugs to report, though. At least on my end.
Yeah, I saw you and your brother were playing it yesterday.
Mm-hmm. And that is it for New Games of the Week.
That only took 30 minutes.
Yeah, seriously.
That's alright. So,
yeah, we kept getting sidetracked. It's cool.
No, it's a lot of fun, actually. So I was just surfing around today looking for topics to talk about, and I stumbled between I just stumbled upon this Wink News article. You'll find this interesting because you used to live in Florida, and I still do. 7,000 gallons of raw sewage spills into Cape Coral storm drain.
Oh, dang. That sounds like a shitty situation to be in.
Oh, nice one. This article is from yesterday morning at 10 a.m., and I'll just read the whole thing because it's not that long at all. Cape Coral, Florida, a force main break released 7,000 gallons of raw sewage into a storm drain Wednesday morning. The Florida Division of Emergency Management said the spill happened between 9:30 a.m. at address blah blah blah, according to an incident report. The sewage was released into a storm drain that leads into Travelers Canal. No drinking water was impacted by the break. I'm sorry, but I'm glad I don't live in Cape Coral.
I hear that.
Because I don't care what that article says about the drinking water not being affected. I would believe it anyways.
Boil the crap out of everything.
Fuck yeah. And it's Florida anyways. Florida, you really shouldn't be drinking tap water in Florida.
Well, unless you're Floridian. And all the bacteria that you get in your tap water is already living in your stomach.
Pretty much. I mean... I love when people have like the Brita filters and whatnot, and I still kind of cringe when they hand me a glass of water from their Brita filter and their faucet, and I'm like, I'll still drink it, but I'm a native Floridian and drinking tap water. I used to do it a lot when I was a kid, but that was different. Now it's like I get I get gallons of water from Publix,
Yeah.
which is funny. They probably get it from my backyard.
Yeah.
No,
Probably.
it's just Florida water is known to be bad for you. I mean, any tap water really. I mean, it's run by the government, so.
Ha. Well.
But no, I just thought it was funny to bring up. It's just something random, like, oh hey, what's going on in Florida? Oh hey, we just had like a lot of sewage leak.
Yeah. Well.
Florida had diarrhea yesterday, by the way.
Shit happens.
But
okay, that's
real
3
topic.
poop puns. I'm done.
Moving on. Did you know that Mass Effect series has been put on hold?
I had no idea.
Yeah, it was reported. Well, it depends on where you were. It was either yesterday or today, depending on where in the world you were living at. The studio behind I'm reading from Metro. It's a UK site. That's what it says, at least in the link. They say the studio behind Mass Effect Andromeda may never make a major game again, with no story DLC planned either.
Oh, that's interesting, actually. So the Mass Effect Andromeda that you got in the box is like the entire Mass Effect experience.
Have you beaten it?
No, I have not.
Okay. Okay. Because this is very unlike EA not to release any form of like DLC like that after the game came out. So I'm wondering if, and I know you have Mass Effect close to your heart, but you might have to sit down. I wonder if Mass Effect Andromeda, a relaunch trilogy or a potential one, it just failed on impact.
It's possible.
Especially, it probably doesn't help with the whole pre-release humor, fun, not so fun issues.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if it just did a significant impact. Like a game like Mass Effect Andromeda, they need to make numbers because it's, a big game.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they missed a sales quota by a lot and they're just like, okay, shut it down.
That might be it. Another thing is that because of all the the day one patches and the complaints that the community had about it, it might be that the studio was like, yeah, this usually isn't our thing, but based on the reaction, we probably shouldn't do this again.
Maybe.
And they did the graceful exit where they just handed it over to somebody else.
I don't know. Is shutting down half a studio and only keeping the other half intact for updates a good idea? A graceful exit?
Well, it's not uncommon for for entire studios to spend a long time on games and then just have everybody just leave. Pretty much everybody that's not essential for the first couple of weeks.
No,
they take time off and just leave.
No, you're absolutely right. It's just when you're not making a sequel, it could also signal something else.
It's true.
And apparently BioWare is also working on another game, a live type thing. I don't know what that means. But it's not supposed to come out until 2018 or 2019. So there's a good chance we may not see a Mass Effect game until the next decade.
That's fair, but I think they learned a lot from what they did with Mass Effect 3. So I really doubt that they'd put the series on hold for too long. I think it would be a high priority for EA to take that IP and look for someone that wants it. Because it's not going to be that difficult. If you wave Mass Effect in the air, there's going to be 3 development studios that are going to look at it.
Maybe. It depends. Because a lot of companies don't like EA, or even gamers don't like EA, so it might have to be more enticing than just Mass Effect, like, say, total creative control and freedom and whatnot.
That's true. They just selling the entire IP?
Not more like licensing it out, like Lucasfilm did with EA having Star Wars for 10 years.
Okay.
They don't own it. They just have whatever creative freedom they want.
Right.
It would have to maybe be something like that. And another reason why I bring up sales is, remember when Dead Space 3 came out? Barring the microtransaction controversy, which played into its sales problems, but it had to sell 5 million copies to be considering for a fourth one. Well, obviously, here we are 4 years later. That didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah, because there's no real way for this game to make money after the fact. There's a few microtransactions for online play. Wait, is there?
I don't know. You play it, not me.
I'm fairly sure there is, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I haven't dove into the online play very much, so I might be talking out of my ass here. But I'm fairly sure there's little to no microtransactions in that game, so we know it's not making a whole lot on the back end.
Now I'm wondering what happened. I mean, you would think Mass Effect, it would sell, and if that's the case, and they may have went into this, all right, we're not doing microtransactions or DLC because we're going to sell a lot. Maybe they had a little too much confidence.
It's possible.
Because
I honestly don't know.
Or I'm curious if it could also be like, you're probably not familiar with the series, but Golden Sun. The first two games came out within a year apart. They're Game Boy Advance games, 2001, 2002, and the third one was rumored ever since the second one came out. But we didn't get it until 2010. We got it 8 years later on the DS. And at that point, you know, your audience has grown up and moved on. Between Mass Effect 3 and Andromeda has been 5 years. I wonder if that played into it a little bit.
I would say definitely, yeah. I feel like a lot of people grew up and move on, especially because like the entire Mass Effect series is very cinematic. It almost plays like a movie, right? A very interactive movie. And we've been getting titles that rival that same type of storytelling and same grandeur of scope with like Uncharted and The Last of Us and, well, recently Horizon Zero Dawn. So the industry isn't exactly hurting for that sort of storytelling.
True. And the interesting thing to bring up Uncharted was in between 3 and 4, because remember, Uncharted 3 came out in 2011, and it ended, and it felt like a definitive end.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden in 2013, oh, hey, we're making a fourth and final one, and it came out in 2016. There was a 5-year gap there, and it was highly successful.
Yeah, and it speaks to the fact that people are looking for that sort of storytelling. It's just that Mass Effect wasn't there to provide it for 10 years.
I mean 5?
I'm exaggerating. It felt way more than 5.
To the fans, it felt like 10.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I personally would like to see Mass Effect handled by like someone in 2K's umbrella.
That'd be good. Yeah.
I think that would be interesting.
That's actually interesting. This is definitely a pipe dream, but if you hand Mass Effect over to Konami, or not Konami, sorry, Kojima. Because he could take that and like launch it in the other direction. You at the end of Mass Effect 6, you'd be sitting there going, "What in the flying fuck did I just play?"
We're all gonna have that reaction playing Death Stranding.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm really excited for that game.
Hell, Mads Mikkelsen had the entire plot explained to him, and he was still confused. And he's in the game.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And he's still cool enough to be like, yeah, I'll do that. I have no idea what you just said for the last hour and a half, but yeah, I'm in.
Well, I think also Hideo Kojima practically sucking his dick is another reason to do it.
Well, there's also that, I guess.
Have you seen all the stuff with Hideo Kojima, like, all over Mads Mikkelsen? It's so cute and funny in the same thing. I mean,
it's kind of weird.
I would do it as like an actor. It'd be boosting my ego. Like, holy shit! Like one of the famed video game creators is fawning over me. Fuck yeah.
That's true. And I also saw an interview where he said because Hideo Kojima is very close friends with Guillermo del Toro, who directed the Hellboy movies.
Yeah.
Pan's Labyrinth and a couple of others that I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Oh, Pacific Rim, duh. But, so, Hideo Kojima said that he put out the first trailer with naked Norman Reedus, and then a couple of days after, he got a text from Guillermo del Toro with a sad emoticon, and Hideo texted him back saying, "Do you want to be in the game?" And Guillermo responded with a "yes, please," and that's how he got his ass into the trailer.
But I can't blame him for sending him a sad emoticon. I mean, it was like looking at that. He's like, "Oh, we were doing Silent Hills, and now we can't." And
yeah,
Hideo is working with Norman, but I'm not a part of this.
Mm-hmm. But hey, man, apparently all you got to be is good friends with Hideo and send him text messages when you want to be in his games.
Hey,
which sounds achievable.
Well, it's great in the short run, but apparently Hideo also doesn't really have long term. I mean, look at David Hayter.
Yeah,
Hayter didn't get any word he was being thrown to the side until he had a conversation with a low level Konami producer over lunch.
So apparently, from what I understand, so like from Hayter's perspective, Kojima was never very fond of him because David Hayter was getting a lot of the praise that Kojima was getting in Japan.
Really?
Yeah. So like in Japan, people are like, "Wow, who's this director?" While in North America, we're like, "Wow, who's this voice actor?"
So you're telling me Kojima's ego took the best of him?
In the early games, yeah, definitely. I think later on they just, I guess, got used to it or stopped caring,
Well,
or maybe he never did, and that's why he was like, "That David Hayter guy, yeah, get him out."
Yeah, exactly. Explain Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, see, that's really different because in the past, like David Hayter was never involved with any of the motion capture or facial animation, but they specifically went for Kiefer Sutherland to design the character and basically act him out.
But it's funny, the thing is, Kiefer Sutherland only does a few facial tics and vocals. It's another person doing the physical.
Yeah.
Which made me a little bit even more angry and butthurt, I guess, is some people would say. They went in, Hideo Kojima went into Metal Gear Solid 5 saying he needed someone that could actually do the physicality of the role. And then you watch the end credits for Ground Zeroes and you're like, motherfucker, he only needed someone for the face.
Yep.
I would have just said put David Hayter on a treadmill and tell him to start snarling more.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, David Hayter could play Solid Snake if he lost 40 pounds and gained 20 back in muscle.
Yeah.
But
I shook his hand once. I have a picture with him.
I know, it's on your Facebook. It's pretty awesome.
I'll bring that up every time that David Hayter comes into the conversation.
Oh. Have you seen the video where it was to promote Metal Gear Solid 4 and he was talking in his natural voice and then Snake accidentally came out? It was great.
Yeah.
He just transitions so seamlessly.
Mm-hmm. He mentions in one of his interviews, I think it was like a panel interview, where he says, yeah, in the first and second game, it was really, really difficult to keep up the Snake voice, and it would be damaging to his throat and vocal cords. But then later on, he like got so used to playing the character that he figured out how he could just drop his voice to a point where his vocal cords just started rumbling on their own, and he says he could pretty much do it all day.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of vocals, you probably aren't aware of Star Trek The Next Generation as a fan, but Michael Dorn, who plays Worf, to voice Worf, he had to voice him in a, like David Hayter voicing Snake. However, for doing a film set or TV set for 12 to 14 hours a day, doing it for 12 years naturally deepened his voice so he sounds like Worf whenever he talks.
That's awesome.
It is. And Michael Dorn, his Worf voice is like very intimidating.
So you're telling me that I could sound like Snake if I just imitate him all the time?
It would naturally change your vocals, yeah, but you'd have to do it for years.
Well, I'm going to start right now.
I think David Hayter would probably kill you.
He might be impressed. I don't know.
No, because then he might see you as a potential threat for an upcoming Snake role.
That's true. I would turn that role down respectfully.
No, you
would.
Be
like, no, I totally would. I'd be like, I think you need to call David back.
No, they'd call Kiefer.
See, I would feel like shit if I turned down the role and then they called Kiefer.
That's when you lowball Kiefer. You're like, fine, I'll do it for half the price.
Yeah.
Of my original price, not Kiefer's. Because, you can never match Kiefer's half.
No.
Anyway. Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna round out the Andromeda topic by saying there actually are a couple different options for microtransactions. The most expensive of which is...
Fix the facial animations for $100.
No, that was done for free, luckily.
I mean, fix them even further.
Interesting. Patch the patch?
Yes.
So it's 12,000 Mass Effect Andromeda points for $133.49. That's Canadian.
And what does this get you?
This gets you 12,000 Andromeda points, which I assume that you can trade online for gear and shit.
Oh, so mobile currency, like, you know, golden clamshells and Family Guy, the quest for stuff?
Yeah. Or, like, I think it's donuts in Tapped Out,
Yep.
Simpsons.
Mm-hmm. Fuck that shit. That belongs in mobile gaming, not real gaming.
I'm inclined to agree. However, I don't know if there's any way to get Mass Effect Andromeda points in-game. Because, again, I haven't dove into the online play.
I don't know. You would be the authority. I'm not big on Mass Effect. Because I know what Mass Effect happens in real life. It's when you eat so much pizza, your mass gets bigger. Hence Mass Effect. From carbs.
Nice. That was that was painful.
Whoa. So if you buy Bayonetta for $20 on Steam, because Bayonetta and Vanquish Vanquish will be later in the month, but if you buy Bayonetta for $20 now, you can save 25% off on Vanquish, so you can get it for $15 instead of $20.
Huh.
I might do that.
Vanquish is a fun game. It's not very good, but it's fun.
I'm just surprised these older PS3 games are coming out on PC. That were just exclusives to that console. Well, Bayonetta wasn't, but I mean, it was a console exclusive.
Yeah.
But speaking of Guillermo del Toro, do you want to talk about Hellboy?
I would love to. Oh, that's kind of a kick in the nuts for that. Anyway, Hellboy has had an announcement recently.
I'm miffed by it.
I'm ambivalent right now, but here, let me lay out the facts first. So a reboot has been announced for Hellboy. The writers include the original creator Mike Mignola, whose hand I shook in Fan Expo 2013, but that's irrelevant.
Fuck off.
So far, neither Ron Perlman or Guillermo del Toro will be associated with this reboot.
This is a travesty to human race.
I know. Like, I can't imagine anybody else playing Hellboy besides Ron Perlman.
Oh, that too, but what I'm getting on is an incomplete trilogy. Let's reboot the fucking franchise. Right.
Yeah. Well, neither one of them were very successful financially.
You think the reboot will be?
Maybe. For this reason and this reason only, it has an R-rated script right now.
You know, the R rating is going to be such, like, yesteryear when it gets out of our taste buds.
That's fair. I think you're onto something with that one, because so far we've gotten Deadpool,
and
which
Logan.
Was fantastic. Very well played into the R rating. Logan, which took the R rating and flung it sky high.
Almost made it NC-17.
Oh, dang.
Literally, I mean, some of those shots, I was like, damn.
Yeah, it's true.
Like when your little cholos were getting cut in half in the beginning.
I'm not a cholo, man.
You're a beaner. They looked like beaners.
Well, all right.
What's with beaners and wearing clothing like that? Like, is that like the uniform of a Mexican?
Oh, by the way, so when we were playing Wildlands, yeah, I'm sidestepping that question. Playing Wildlands, looking into the story, now this isn't a spoiler because you get it within like the first 5 minutes of it. Actually, while the game is installing, so definitely not a spoiler. They were Mexicans. Remember how we were doing the beta test? And I kept saying, like, they're Bolivian, man. They're not Mexican. My bad. They actually are Mexican.
You were writing me all 5 of those videos about that.
Yeah, I know. But they are Mexican.
And I had to look all racist because I'm treating all brown people the same. And come to find out, I know the difference between a Mexican and a Bolivian.
Yeah, which makes you even less ignorant than I thought you were. That says a lot. Oh
That was
man, we
great.
have like the most toxic relationship ever.
And it works for some reason.
Yeah, it's weird.
I think it's because we
Anyway,
keep the penises out of the bedroom.
if you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, Hellboy will be rebooted.
It's saddening.
Also, David Harbour might be playing Hellboy. He's in talks right now.
Who the hell is that?
He's God damn it.
You know what would be great? Just to cut you off. just for fucks and whatnot. Since Carl Urban played the second iteration of Judge Dredd, have Carl Urban play the second iteration of Hellboy.
Huh. No, don't. No. I disagree entirely. And I love both of them. Both Urban and Perlman are great.
You heard it. Marco loves men.
Perfect. So
that's how this podcast is opening.
Great. David Harbour was in Stranger Things playing the character Jim Hopper. He was also in Suicide Squad as Dexter Tolliver.
The movie, like, pretty much nobody watched.
Essentially, yeah.
The movie that almost brought the DC extended universe to its knees.
The movie that had to be reshot so many times that we have no idea what the actual movie should have been.
Just like Rogue One?
Exactly. Wait, what?
Huh? Okay.
So...
Is this a Deus Mio type situation?
What the hell is that?
I don't know. You're Mexican. I have no idea.
Oh, Dios mío.
Yeah.
As in my God.
Yeah, because of Rogue One and the reshoots for Suicide Squad and Rogue One. Like, Deus Mio.
I get it. No, I'm not outraged. And I will not act outraged when I'm not actually outraged.
So you're so triggered you're not?
Exactly.
He's in the closet. Denial. The 5 stages of grief.
It's 7. But you were close. Tentatively, this Hellboy reboot has been named Hellboy Rise of the Blood Queen, which kind of harkens back to the animated movie Blood and Iron, which features a vampire character who bathes in the blood of her victims in order to stay young. So I'm really hoping that they reuse that story.
That sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I actually haven't seen the animated Hellboy movies. I've had them for like forever.
You should definitely watch them. I found them really good. I feel like they could have definitely been full-fledged live-action movies, but I understand the finances behind that would never work.
Well, I mean, not to knock Guillermo del Toro, but a lot of Guillermo del Toro's big-budget films don't make their budgets back, or barely do. So I can, like with Pacific Rim, I can see why he's being replaced. No offense to the director. He has a vision. He has such a great vision. His movies are excellent. But his audience hits a very niche market, and we can't keep his big budgets afloat.
It's true. Yeah.
So that's probably why we're not getting Hellboy 3. So the people that didn't see Hellboy the Golden fucking Army 5 times, go fuck yourself. I can only do so much, man.
Oh, man. That movie's so good. Well, I think it's good.
That grass tree monster looked awesome in 2008.
Yeah, it really did.
The last of its kind that Hellboy has to put down.
I kind of want to watch it again now that you mention it.
I'm planning on watching both of them this weekend just because of this announcement.
Well, I know what I'm doing now.
I can cry and be sad and angered at the same time. Ron Perlman better make a motherfucking cameo in this film.
I really hope so, but it would kind of throw the world for a spin. Like, if Hellboy meets the actor who was him before.
Yeah, but usually audiences are more acceptive of this. Like when Kevin Sorbo, who played Hercules in the TV show, wanted to make a cameo in the Dwayne Johnson movie, and the director, Brett Ratner, said fuck no, and look what happened.
Yep, that's fair.
You're upsetting the equilibrium.
Mm-hmm.
We want that former actor cameo.
Also, that actor, I'm fairly sure, played Hercules in God of War 3.
He did.
So good.
Yes. It was like a nice little like shout out to the past. Like, hey, for those of you who grew up on Hercules' adventures, I did. And Xena.
Now, I didn't. I was more of a Xena person myself, which I guess says a lot about me. But
let me guess, you like women in leather tights.
I'm going to sidestep that one, too.
Sidestepping is admitting without saying anything.
Sidestepping that one. But I remember the crossover Hercules Xena episodes, and I remember him being a very... It was an interesting equilibrium that he had to hit with the crossover episodes, because he couldn't be like a leading actor, because that's Xena's role. But he also couldn't be this minor background character, because he's fucking Hercules. And I think he rode that line very, very well.
Yeah. Which is funny, because Xena was a Season 1 character in Hercules.
It's true, yeah. I think those might be the crossover episodes that I'm talking about. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember them very well.
No, there's more. Xena comes back in Season 3 when Hercules loses his powers and whatnot.
See, I don't even remember that. Anyway.
You call yourself a Xena fan?
No, I never said that. I said I enjoyed Xena.
That means you're also into lesbianism.
What? Because of her sidekick?
Oh, remember how Xena was like the lesbian like hit show back in the day?
No, I had no idea. I was like 10 when I was watching these. I didn't care about like any concepts further than the action on screen. I didn't care about the politics about...
You were going to say plot.
I was. But really, the political influence of the show didn't move me at all.
I think
not even there.
Yeah. I was also too young to pick up on that stuff, and I could care less. Women kissing, ooh, ah, whatever. I don't get why it has to be a political statement, but it was.
Yeah. I might have a different opinion if I rewatch that now, but I don't know. Xena's a little old.
Well, they haven't aged well for shit, you know? You go back into them now like I did a decade ago. I went back into Hercules. I mean, I was enjoying it, but I was also like, this is a bit cringy.
Yeah, TV doesn't age well because it plays to the times and the politics so much.
And set designs and lack of budgets.
Yeah.
Serious.
What used to be big budget back then is like nothing now.
Oh no, Hercules and Xena were low budget Canadian flicks. I mean, shows.
They're Canadian?
I believe they were shot in Canada.
Huh.
Hercules: The Legendary Adventures. I just finally remembered that.
In Xena the Warrior Princess?
Nobody forgets that.
Oh, just me?
I was punching in Hercules: The Legendary Journeys, and it punched in Hercules: The Rock.
So, funny actually. My girlfriend and I went to watch that movie, and she fell asleep halfway through it.
The one with The Rock?
Yeah. And
go ahead.
When we left, she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry I fell asleep." I'm like, "Nah, don't worry. You didn't miss anything."
Anywho, apparently Far Cry 5 may be a spaghetti western set in Montana.
I heard that.
Due this September. What is also coming out at the end of the year? Western wise?
Oh, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Who do you think's gonna get their asses handed to them?
Ha!
This
Ubisoft.
feels like a Battleborn Overwatch mashup yet again.
Yeah, you're right. Well, we know who's gonna win that one.
Just like we knew between Battleborn and Overwatch.
Exactly.
I mean, this is a bad time. Ubisoft, delay it a year. You will thank me later. Like, seriously. Anything that goes up against Rockstar right now in terms of a Western game at the end of the year, you're fucked. You're absolutely fucked. It could be better than Red Dead Redemption 2. Just the sheer name recognition and the fact we've wanted this for 7 years is going to overpower us to go for it.
I would also put a warning out there for anybody that puts out an open world game at the same time as Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out.
Well, see, it depends. I mean, because there's a rumored Assassin's Creed game that's going to be set in Egypt.
Yeah.
With an
Origins?
No, it's... I guess. I have no clue what it's actually called. I just know it's supposed to bring back naval combat and more of emphasis on Horizon Zero Dawn style open world.
Okay.
But I'm just speaking in terms of... I mean, maybe even the open world, because, I mean, so many people can play so many open world games at a time, so you are onto something. But... good luck, Ubisoft. Good luck. And when this fails, Vivendi will have their excuse to try another hostile takeover of your company. Look at that. 2 talking points at once.
Yeah, that was great.
Which
I'm very impressed, actually.
Are you aware of that, though? That Vivendi is gearing up to try again?
I heard rumblings, but I didn't look into it.
Didn't they get game loft last year?
I think they did.
Yeah, because I believe that was...
have to double check on that.
I think it was Gameloft. And it was ran by... Wasn't it ran by Yves Guillemot's brother or something?
I think so.
And Vivendi got control of that, and now Yves Guillemot's brother is on the board of directors of Ubisoft to have an extra vote to hold off Vivendi because they have enough shares to have votes in the shareholders.
Right.
But, and I personally think a hostile takeover is best for gamers because Ubisoft in the past 5 years have been doing some pretty god-awful things in terms of gaming. In terms of microtransactions and whatnot.
Yeah, I was going to say, in terms of marketing and how they're basically taxing players to continue playing.
Oh, fuck, it's terrible. Like, have you seen the video? I know I've sent it to you, where someone took a compilation of Ubisoft E3 and then actual, in terms of visual quality comparisons.
Yeah, so it's the one, wasn't it the one that, it started off with Watch Dogs?
Yeah!
Yeah, and that one... See, I never went back to see, because I played Watch Dogs. I pre-ordered it. I still have the Aiden Pierce statue and everything. But I never went back to look at the E3 footage to compare. And when I saw that, I'm like, holy shit. There's a huge gap here. And I just never noticed. And it was it's sad, but it did continue on to a couple more games.
Now, the funny part for Watch Dogs, though, is... It sacrifices visuals for frame rate, so it makes that argument. Do you want a prettier game and a fluctuating frame rate, or a stable game and a muddied game?
Yeah.
I wish on consoles you kind of got both options, like Neo, NIOH.
Yeah.
Where you could choose the resolution and frame rate to whatever you prefer. Like on the original PS4, it's 720p 60, 1080p 30, and PS4 Pro beyond.
Right.
I think that's what would solve a lot of problems on consoles, to be bluntly honest.
Yeah, I feel like the more customization options that you give players, then yeah, of course you're going to reduce complaints and you're going to get higher ratings because people are playing what they want to play. Like for me, I know I don't give a rat's ass about frame rate, so I wouldn't mind putting up the graphics a little more in Watch Dogs.
And that's fair. I mean, that's your personal preference.
Mm-hmm. But then other people would just they wouldn't be able to stand dropping frame rates. So,
me personally,
it would be interesting to get more customization options as far as resolution and frame rates go on console games.
Right, and it's something that they're starting to really get on to doing with the PS4 Pro, and I hope it's something that picks up because it's a serious threat, in my opinion, to consoles is lack of customizability in terms of your personal preference.
Right.
And that's an area where PC can easily eat you up.
Yeah, for sure. There's no market. There's no competition.
Oh, and that's what's giving PCs the edge. If consoles decided they want to combat that, I mean, You know how the remasters on consoles happen with the PS3 up to 1080p 60 and whatnot, but
Yeah.
the PS4 games are lower. Why not bring PS4 games to PS3 era at 720p and then boost the frame rate? Problem solved.
Huh. That'd be interesting. See, this goes back to the issue that there hasn't been a PS4 game that couldn't technically be done on the PS3.
Okay.
And it's like,
yeah, I get what you're saying. Sorry.
Like we've fallen into these categories where it's like it's either shooter, an open world, or side scroller. There's not a whole lot of pioneering in that way. Now, that being said, VR is trying to do that, but it's doing it with a piece of technology that a lot of people can't support or just won't support.
I financially will not support a headset peripheral as a platform.
And that's exactly the point. So we're voting with our wallets in terms of getting exactly the same games that we've been playing for the last 25 years.
I don't get me wrong. I mean, VR has my interest. It needs to meet me halfway.
Yeah.
And they're not right now.
It's kind of a weird loop. It's a weird cycle where VR needs to see like gamer interest in order to put more into research and development and crap, in order to get it to the point where people like you and I would be like, yeah, sure, I'll spend $300 on this piece of technology that's been researched and developed to a point that I can get behind.
Right.
So I don't know. There's a weird cycle there, and I wouldn't have any idea how to fix it.
Right now, to perfectly sum it up, right now VR feels like smartphones back in 2007 through 2011. The beta trial period, as the one phone commercial called it, which was perfectly summing up people that supported smartphones in those 4 years. That's what VR comes off to me right now. It feels like we are in the beta period, and you're spending smartphones were about $800 back then, but you had the 2-year renewal thing, so it was really chomping off the price because they made it up in your phone contract.
Yeah.
But you're paying this all up front. There's nobody coming up to you saying, here, 2 years over time, pay this off. So you're paying $800. My hand's waving like the ish, gesture. So it's like, it's a huge cost for a lot of people. And don't bring up PSVR being $400. You still have to get the fucking PlayStation Eye if you don't have it. Those stupid controllers if you don't have it. So it still brings the price up to about $650. Sure. I mean, if you want $650, but you get what you pay for. So if at $650, you might as well spend $800 and get the HTC Vive, and get a higher quality. But still, even the lowest priced one is still a big pill to swallow. Because I mean, there are people like myself with the Nintendo Switch, the early adopters, where we're just still miffed about it. So, do you want to spend even more and be even more miffed?
It's really like, it is the early adoption phase. And people that are putting their money behind it are the ones that are going to be pushing the VR through in order to be developed to the point where the regular middle-class consumer like you and me can get behind it.
Correct.
So, it has my blessing. Like, go for it, VR. Once I get to a point where I can just spend that amount of money, I'm sure I would be behind it too. But not right now.
When VR will be viable is the next console generation.
I agree. Where it doesn't need like the little side processor and all these fucking wires.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's how the PSVR gets away on PlayStation 4. There's built-in enhancements in the headset, docking thingy, whatnot. Because the PS4 processor won't be able to handle all this. It can barely handle 1080p 30. You're going to tell me it's going to handle 1080p 90?
No. And 360? No.
Exactly. So the next console generation is where it's at. If it survives that long. Because
I'm hoping it does.
I saw a report. Oculus Rift is closing a lot of its Best Buy stores. Not where they're in a Best Buy store where you can play with it. They're closing a lot of them.
Booths.
Yeah. I couldn't think of the word.
We've both had those ones today.
Yeah, sad part is English is my native language. You have an excuse.
Thanks. Not a lot of people see it that way. Anything else on the VR before we move on?
No, I was actually about to say, since we talked about Carl Urban,
and how he played Judge Dredd.
I still haven't seen that movie, by the way. So hate all the way.
Oh, God, dude, seriously, get on that shit.
I'm a gamer.
Do you remember how you challenged me to buy Doom, or at least play Doom?
Yeah.
So for our listeners, we were gaming on Far Cry one time, and I was telling Forgetful Hitman here how I stumbled across the Doom soundtrack because of the Video Game Awards. I was like, holy shit, that soundtrack is awesome. I really hope that someone's getting Mick Gordon on the phone right now and being like, we need to get Bethesda's permission to take this on tour. And he says, you haven't played Doom, have you? And I said, no, but I might get it because of the soundtrack. He said, no, you got to play Doom or else we're not friends. I'm like, motherfucker. 10 years down the drain just because I wouldn't spend... You know what? Fuck you. I'm getting Doom.
Did you I bought
Doom. I bought Doom, and it is one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 4 so far. That game is awesome, but I completely derailed our topic.
I had to say it to get you to get all triggered like you just did.
Well, now people know that you challenged me. You challenged our friendship
over fine.
Doom. But I'm challenging our friendship again over Dread.
Yeah, but see, now you're doing it all triggered. It's great.
But anyway, I don't mean that, by the way.
By the way, Mick Gordon, he composed Prey, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, and it's totally...
Oh, God damn it. This is another one of those games that's going to get me through the soundtrack, isn't it?
Yep. But it's not heavy metal. It's a complete 180, and it's still really good.
Is it like orchestral?
More Stressinger type synthetic with some orchestra, but not heavy metal.
I'm interested. I'm gonna have to get the soundtrack now.
I'm definitely getting it.
This might be one of those games where I hear the soundtrack and I need to buy the game, just like Doom. But anyway, getting back to Judge Dredd. I got an email, and I don't remember signing up for any email subscriptions, so if you sign me up for this, someone who's listening, thank you. Or if it was just me and I don't remember, thank you past me.
I think it's just you.
It might be just me. I don't know. Mega City 1, a TV show, has just been announced. And the game developer studio, Rebellion, is in cahoots with a British production company to get this TV show off. I found it really interesting. It's very, very early in its production right now. It's got a tentative release date for the first episode in 2019. And that's just from what I got from the announcement video. Judge Dredd started in 1977. It's a British post-apocalyptic sort of crime comic, if you've never heard of Judge Dredd. It's where basically North America's police officers become judge, jury, and executioner. It's really awesome if you're into like crime dramas, especially if you're into like Fallout.
Fallout's awesome.
Definitely recommend this sort of stuff. Because it's being produced by Rebellion, I'm thinking this might be animated. I'm not 100% sure. I could also see how production cost wise it being animated would make more sense. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Keith Urban will not be playing Judge Dredd.
Carl.
Did I say Keith?
Yeah.
I wrote Keith too. I meant Carl. That's awesome.
They definitely won't.
I've been listening to a lot of Keith Urban too.
They won't be able to get Nicole Kidman's husband. No, they won't.
Carl, you were just waiting for that one, weren't you? Probably not Carl Urban.
He's going to come on the Triggercast one of these days, Carl Urban. He's just going to tell you, fuck you, and get off.
Yeah. Oh, man. I would be honored.
That's how we'll start every podcast if that ever happened with Marco. Just Carl Urban telling Marco to fuck off.
That kind of sucks though, because I love that Dread movie.
I personally, I hope Carl Urban can come back because he loves. I said Carl, not Keith.
Yeah, no, it's just the chocolate in your mouth. I assume it's chocolate. Is there anybody else in the room with you?
Well, I'm not really shooting Two Girls, One Cup remake. No, I'm not.
Oh.
But, I don't know. I would like to see Carl Urban come back because he's been trying so hard to get another Judge Dredd movie up and running.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't strike me as someone who would be too big for television.
That's fair. Especially because of the passion that he put behind the character.
That and the fact that he's done television recently. I can't remember the show. It got canceled early on. It was like, but it wasn't like... It was like a futuristic type show. But I don't think he was like the main guy. And like if they did a Judge Dredd show, I'm not assuming it's going to be a 24 episode, yearly season type thing. I wonder if it'll be like one of your limited type shows. Or it could be like Netflix 13 episode type things where he could do it. I'm someone though, I don't like when a character is recast. So I usually hold out as much hope as I can until it's officially recast, and I just cry out a no, and then I accept it eventually, or I just pretend it's not that person, like Kiefer Sutherland. I'm sorry, all those lines of dialogue. I'm sorry, what lines of dialogue? Snake barely talks. I can't wonder why. Kiefer Sutherland's voice was probably really expensive. I just imagine Database Hater talking every time I heard Snake talking in 5.
I would actually pay a significant amount of money to have a patch that has David Hayter just voice over all of Kiefer Sutherland's lines.
Someone needs to do it. Someone that's close to David Hayter. Someone needs to get the entire line of dialogue, all of the lines of dialogue Snake speaks in Metal Gear Solid 5. Whoever's close to him, get him to
mod it.
Exactly. Get him to say all of those words and then just release it on the internet and be like, here.
We're like, oh, what's this here? Just gonna walk away from it.
I don't think he would do it though.
David Hayter lives in my city.
Really?
If we go out and picket in front of his house.
David Hayter lives in Canada?
Yeah, man. He's a Torontonian.
I didn't know that.
Actually, he went to the theater school in the university that I work at.
No, that's kind of funny.
And oh god damn it, I'm gonna derail myself again. But when I met David Hayter, I told him that I work at that university, and I just kind of slyly went, and I know you graduated from that theater school. He said, actually, I didn't. I went to that school. I left to, I think it was San Francisco, to record Metal Gear Solid 1. I came back, and they said, well, you need to pay us again in order to redo your schooling. He said, well, no. And he went and said he became a voice actor. I'm like, that was a good move.
He's also an accomplished writer.
He's a director, too.
Yeah, that's something a lot of people don't know either.
Yeah, David Hayter was behind the X-Men 1 and 2, so the good X-Men movies.
The scripts, yes.
Yep, the scripts, and The Watchmen as well.
His script was actually tossed out, but they said it was 95% to the comics.
Mm-hmm.
But he still wrote for it, so he probably still got to cash a check in for that. It's just not his script that we see in the movie.
Yeah, no, but he wrote the screenplay.
Okay.
So he's also, what is it? Dark Hero Studios, I think it is. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's Dark Hero Studios, but they're actually a writing company. So he's submitted a screenplay for a Black Widow movie, which they haven't entirely thrown out yet, from what I understand. Also, David Hayter's daughter is named after the Black Widow.
Natasha Romanoff?
not Romanov, but Natasha.
Well, I was gonna say if it was all of it, that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah. So now that I have this weird stalker vibe about me.
Yeah, I know, right? Marco is apparently stalking David Hayter. I just thought of the title for this podcast.
Great. Don't share it. It'll just be the title.
The Triggercast number 11, the title.
Perfect. So yeah, thoughts on Judge Dredd series?
If it's Netflix bound, it could stay true to the character. If it's Fox bound, forget it.
Oh god, I hope not.
Well, I'm trying to, like broadcast, network, it would be so dumbed down in terms of the I see when I say violence, I don't mean everything needs to be nitty-gritty, fucking Punisher bashing in skulls, shit like that. But there has to be a certain faithfulness to the character, just like the Punisher television series, I don't think it can't be a broadcast series. It has to be more like Dark Horse Comics. It's got to be on somewhere else for it to be true to the character. If we see his face, I'm officially done.
Yeah, same here. I'm all the way in with the series when it comes out in 2019, but the minute Judge Dredd takes off his helmet, I'm turning it off and being like, nope. Not my Judge Dredd.
Nope. We don't want no Sylvester Stallone.
Nope. Now, they did have one square in the comic where he actually took off his helmet, but it was censored. So if they pays tribute to that, I would love him forever.
I see. I would love it if it was like trick camera angles. Like
when he's got his helmet off. You mean?
You figure the guy's got to take a shower eventually,
I really don't want to see a Judge Dredd shower scene.
No, I'm not either, but I'm saying there has to be times.
Unless it's Carl Urban.
Lols, you do love men. Anyways, what I'm getting at is there have to be times where he takes the helmet off. I mean, I use shower as an example because none of us go into the shower in our full getup,
Oh, you don't?
Well,
well, how do you clean your uniform then?
I put it in the washing machine.
Huh. How odd.
Sorry, I don't live in backwards land.
Anyway, moving right on. Right on.
Right on. Okay. So did you know that Square Enix is getting ready to sell off IO?
Why?
No clue.
That is interesting.
It's scary because it's like it doesn't bode well for IO.
For those of you that don't know, IO is the guys that... Oh, it's actually in the link. I'm reading it now. They're the guys behind Hitman.
Yep. And back in 2013, you remember when Square Enix was hurting really bad because Final Fantasy 14 was such a disaster in 2010 that they had to destroy the server and rebuild it, and they lost a lot of money because it still hadn't relaunched.
Yep.
It was in the process of relaunching in 2013, but they lost so much money with the failure that was Final Fantasy 14 that they had a cash flow problem, and this is a big reason why. Because also, what was that stupid game? Kane and Lynch Dog Days did very bad, and just Square Enix left and right was having problems.
Mm-hmm.
So IO, half of its staff was fired, and they focused solely on Hitman. Hence the 2016 Hitman we got in chunks. And those of you who are like me that don't support that model and wait for the whole thing, we bought it at one point. This will be interesting to see what happens because IO's been reduced. They still have mini ninjas and Kane and Lynch. If Square Enix doesn't own those, see, that's the thing where I'm confused where properties lie.
I'm fairly sure. So I'm looking at the Wikipedia page right now. It's the developer is IO Interactive, but the publisher is Eidos.
Well, but 2009 and pre, yes. Look, Square Enix absorbed Eidos in 2009.
Oh, so if it absorbed Eidos, then it's Square Enix that owns that property.
Exactly. I'm going based on the sale though, because
Yeah.
they're going to sell the studio, but are they going to allow the IPs to go with it?
Good question.
Or are they just going to shut down the studio once nobody bids on it? So
Now, would anybody not bid on IO though?
it depends. I would bid on IO, but I don't have the cash to bid on IO because I enjoy Hitman.
That's fair.
However, you also have to realize Hitman is great and all, but there's only so many stories you can tell with Hitman. So buying the studio is also a big risk because
True.
Kane and Lynch are mediocre. Mini Ninjas was cute and all, but I don't hear people talking about that game 8 years later.
Yeah.
So they only have Hitman. They don't really have anything else. It's gonna be very interesting to see what happens.
It's true. I feel like that Hitman IP, just like the entire IP, needs to die.
True, but I was also gonna say I would love for 2K to pick up IO and kind of get Rockstar involved with Hitman. Give it the GTA treatment.
That's a good idea actually.
So that's where I'm curious about that. But I also do agree with you. Hitman kind of needs to die and be put out to pasture and like not used for a while. But see, that's the thing though. It's like when From Software announced there's no more Dark Souls. I mean, all these copycats came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So when the master does eventually return, people will flock to that. But in the meantime, we have copycats. So you cancel Hitman. I'm just waiting for the copycats.
Yeah. I can't imagine Hitman, like the kind of game that Hitman is. I don't imagine that void being empty for too long.
No. Because, I mean, it's very simple to make a game. I mean, not simple, but I'm talking about, like, in a general premise. Go kill this guy, some obstacles, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's not really... You know, you're not asking me to crack 2 eggs at the same time.
I think what people... Well, what I would do in order to revive Hitman and give it, like, its own lifespan is just hand it over to Telltale. Because I feel like...
That would be interesting.
You're completely on point when you said that there's only so many stories that you can tell about Hitman. But if you give it to Telltale Games, they'll make it interesting.
No, you're absolutely right. Telltale has this very weird way of handling stories in a way that means something. That's why I really wish they would do a James Bond game.
Yeah, I didn't think about it at the time that we spoke about the James Bond Telltale games, but I could definitely see the merits to it now.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be murderous Bond. It would be more to the books. It would be a very interesting story.
Yeah, it would almost be like a romantic crime novel.
Exactly, and that would be very interesting. It'd be like the 20s and 30s all over again and it would have a very cool blues soundtrack. You know, that's how I vision it.
Telltale, get on this shit, man.
Well, it's a rights issue. That's the problem.
I will crowdfund that one.
You know, I kind of would actually, and I don't really like crowdfunding.
Yeah, me neither. I'm mostly against crowdfunding, but
I'm speaking
mostly.
I'm not butthurt about it. I'm just speaking as a cautious observer.
As one of the crowdfunders to No Man's Sky, I'm for the most part against crowdfunding.
Yeah, I can't blame you. Anybody that crowdfunded No Man's Sky really should get a hand job from Sean Murray.
Oh God, no! Why are you punishing me more?
Because you crowdfunded No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I know. Anyway.
See, my problem with No Man's Sky, and this is the reason why I didn't crowdfund it, I don't believe in crowdfunding either. I believe in demos. I don't believe in paying you to continue developing. That's what a publisher's for. I'll admit the first year was very interesting, and then the years leading up to its release, I just had this cloud of doubt and suspicion get bigger and bigger and bigger. The way Sean Murray talks and all the time, it's like people asking the same question over and over again. Can we meet? And it's that quiet, yes, and then he looks down type of thing. Like, I'm telling a lie, but I'm trying not to,
It's true. I actually have training in detecting not liars, but deceptive behavior. So if I sat down in front of a computer monitor and just examined every last little bit of it, it'd be interesting. I might have a little bit of insight into that. Of course, I'm not going to sit down and do that because I have no time.
Well, you also know the outcome. It was a lie.
Yeah, it's true. So my entire analysis would be biased.
Exactly. But it's just, that's my viewpoint on that. But yeah.
That's fair.
I don't know. I hope they get picked up by somebody. Or they just go, in this day and age, honestly, if you have enough capital, I mean, I hope they have the capital to where they can publish on their own. And be on their own, because times are also changing. Back in the day, it used to be if you didn't have a publisher, your game's not coming out.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like on Steam, a lot of developers are their own publishers.
Yeah. Like, there is an indie revolution.
Exactly. So this might actually suit IO. Like Ken Levine, when BioShock Infinite came out, and it was critically acclaimed, but the rumor is it didn't make its budget back. Ken Levine shut down his studio and made a much smaller studio, like a teen-sized studio. His new game hasn't come out yet, but I can't wait. So that might be the breath of fresh air IO needs.
That's true. This might just this might give it a a chance to like really just do their own thing without having the approval of suits, right?
Right.
So, and we know that they can be creative. Like, like you said, there's only so many stories that you can tell with Hitman, and they've told all of them.
They've told too many.
Exactly. So, it'd be interesting. I'd like to check in with IO in about a year, see where they're at.
Hopefully, it's still open. Doing.
Yeah.
But I think nowadays, because like with Outlast 2, and this was starting a talk earlier, not with us, but I mean like about how a AA game had such an impact.
Mm-hmm.
And and how it was like this very small studio managed to do something that, like I said, Resident Evil 7 was struggling to do. And it was only $30 and you get this game that's complete, and it feels AAA.
It's again, people that like want to put effort behind something they believe in, and the fans respond to that. That's what a lot of developers and I think not the developers. I feel like some developers are more in touch than others, but definitely when it gets to the corporate level and you have to pitch your idea to a bunch of suits,
publishers,
they don't understand that when you make a game for the fans respond in a positive way.
And this is also another publisher thing, is where games have to be successful in the first 30 to 90 days. It's
like, or else you're getting all your budget pulled.
Exactly. It's like, look at Alan Wake. Remedy, over time, Alan Wake sold 2 million copies. And mind you, it was only an Xbox 360 game at the time in 2010. It got PC in 2012. By the time the PC copy came out in 2012, it had sold 2 million units over the 2 years. And Microsoft they allowed Remedy to make Alan Wake's American Nightmare, which was a little, Xbox Live Arcade game, which means it's tiny. Due to it selling 2 million over time, it was financially successful, yes, but it was considered now risky to do a sequel. And here we are 7 years later, in terms of 2010 and 2017, there's no sequel.
Yeah.
And Alan Wake's an amazing game.
I've actually never played it. I've seen way too much of that game, but never actually went hands on.
You'd have to get on the PC or get an Xbox 360 to play it.
Yeah. Hence the problem.
Yeah, Sony pony.
I am a Sony pony.
But so that's where I stand on that stuff. Your thoughts before we wrap it up?
That I shared everything that I had. I wish IO the best. That's about all I got for them.
All right. Well, if you didn't hear a moment ago, we are wrapping up. So thank you for joining us. We hope you have a good evening, day, night, whatever it is, wherever it is, whether you're on this planet or not. We hope you have a great time. Thank you for listening to us and our opinions. And if you agree with us, awesome. If you don't, well, opinions are opinions. Deal with it. This has been Manuel and Marco signing out.